yes, no, you can come on in. Hmm? Is it just you then? No, no, that's totally fine. I was just kind of hoping for more. No, please don't take that as any offense. Actually, one-on-one lessons are totally much better. That's how I learned. So this will be better. There really wasn't anybody else who wanted to come to lessons. Well, I don't blame them. I guess it is kind of a scary thing, but it isn't. It really isn't that scary once you know, get out there and get started. That's why you're here, obviously. See, we're always looking for bright new borrowers who want to join the cause and helping our whole community out and joining the borrowing ranks. So obviously you are a wonderful candidate because you look amazing, well fit, you know, fearless, which actually having some fear is good because well, you always have to stay on your toes, but you're a borrower, so that is obviously something that's well ingrained. Yes, well, don't worry. See, what happened is, a lot of the older borrowers aren't feeling as up to the task as others, and it's very important for us to have somebody, have a few people, especially with how large our community is, to go out into the flats and borrow as much as we can, so we can provide food and just basic needs and necessities that everybody can have. So that's why I'm trying to recruit you to the borrowing team. Now, the sewing team is super important, the cooking team is super important, everybody has important jobs, but the borrowing side of things can be a little, I'd say, harrowing. Not to scare you, please don't be scared. Are you scared? I really hope I'm not scaring you right now. Okay, well, anyway, before I get into my spiel of how great borrowing is, because it's wonderful, it's one of my favourite things, I just want to say thank you for coming. I kind of prepared my whole speech, like I said, for a group, but this is fine. This is totally fine, so don't worry about it at all. Welcome to my home. I know it's really great. I'm kind of on the first floor, under the floorboards of a very particular flat, I'd say, and I don't know, I'll have to give you a grand tour later, but this is just my main area. I like to put up some fabric, because I find sometimes the walls can be a bit drafty. Excuse me, this is about the only one I can find right now. I mean, I would like something with more colour, maybe later. So I put up some fabric so it can keep some better insulation, but like I said, I'm on the first floor, so I don't really have to worry about too much of a draft. So yes, welcome to my home. Everything that I will be teaching to you, I've learned from my father, and I just remember just the wonderful time I always had getting to go out with him and learn all the tricks needed in order to successfully borrow. Well, before we begin, what is your name? Oh, well, that's a wonderful name, befitting of a fearless and fearsome borrower. I can see it now, you're going to be helping us a lot. Well, it's nice to meet you. My name is Arrietty Clock, and I... Oh, yes, I do suppose my name comes with a rather large reputation. Get it? Because of the, large, because they're beans. Okay, I'm going to scare off before I've even started borrowing. But let me preface it by, just letting you know that all of that was in my past. See, I had very crazy teenage years, and I have learned my lesson, because obviously the one rule of being a burrower is not to be seen by any being at all, in any case, because the secret of our species, quite frankly, depends on it. So I have learned very much from those years. So you have nothing to worry about going out with me. But I do understand that you probably have some questions, so let's go ahead and get those out of the way before we begin our lessons. So, do you have any questions about my whole thing with the bean? Okay, do I still talk to beans? No, of course not. I would never do that. Like I said, I now live in this community, and if anyone were to ever find out that I am fraternizing with beans again, well, everybody would freak out, and then they'd all move away, and quite frankly, it's very hard for borrowers to move, especially in the outdoors, so it would put everybody at danger just because I decided to talk to a bean again. So no, of course not. I would never talk to a bean, I promise. Like I said, those days are far behind me. There's nothing to worry about. Oh, my family, yes, I can answer that. Well, my family's living with my other relatives. They're kind of in a burrow right now. After the whole incident of my childhood, they left, and they live there with them. They really liked it, and I really liked it as well. It was very fun to be outdoors. My absolute favourite activity is climbing trees, because I really like climbing counters and stuff like that as well. I don't know, it's just very exhilarating to see the world from so high up, so I really liked being outside. However, I found out about this community here, so my friend Spiller, have you met him? Yes, he is kind of an odd one, isn't he? He is kind of a nomad, I would say. He lives outdoors and he travels to and from, so actually I send him letters from my parents and other relatives when he goes by that way, or I'll actually travel with him when I'm not traveling. When I only travel with him. Yes. To see my parents, so anyway, so he's very great, and he actually brought me here and told me about this place, and it's such a wonderful idea to have a whole community of borrowers all living together and in a whole flat of flats upon flats. It's just amazing, because see, when I was little, we only lived in a small house, and so the rules were there couldn't be a lot of borrowers in one place, so we all had to split up, because if you took too much of something, it would, one, go missing, and it's easier to discover that something is missing, and two, you wouldn't be able to take as much of something for fear of, like I said, finding out that something's there, and of course you have limited resources that way as well. So we're all split up all the time. So I really kind of missed being around others. And so when I came here, it's very cool to find, because we have different people doing different jobs in order to keep us all running, and I think that's wonderful. Like I said, we have people who are sewing, we have people taking care of food, and to wrap this all up into a wonderful lesson about the importance of borrowing, when we're living in this type of situation, we can pick and choose the different flats to go into. So we are getting to hit up different places so things don't go missing as much, and it's less noticeable, and nobody really suspects anything. So that's one of the most wonderful things about this whole thing, and it makes burrowing a lot safer. So don't you worry about anything. So obviously I'm a little passionate about burrowing. It's something I enjoy so much. Actually, do you have a burrowing bag? Because that's going to be very important. You do? Let me see. Awesome. Okay, because you need it, and you need to be very accessible, so it's not going to be... Mine's kind of crossbody, so it's not going to get in the way when you're climbing. Are you alright? Oh, you got a little flush just then. Let me feel your head. And... a little bit warm. Are you nervous? Well, that's perfectly okay. Yes, I understand. My first time going out was very nerve-wracking. The world kind of opens up around you. And everything is so large, and it can be quite scary. So, don't be afraid of being nervous. In fact, one of my favourite things about being nervous, if it's kind of odd to say, but you can turn it into excited energy. You know, you just settle down, take deep breaths. And again. And you kind of just let it settle. And you use that to help sharpen your focus whenever it comes to go out. And it's kind of just, you know, it really does help you with your focus. I mean, like I said, you always have to stay alert, because one of the most important things is not to be seen. But don't worry, I'll show you all the different passageways we have. There's different exits, and there'll be different rules, so we'll go through everything. And today we'll actually be going into the flat above me, just above me, because I'd say it's really safe. You don't have to worry about anything, only because I live below it, so I've gotten quite used to his schedule. I know exactly when he'll be leaving and how much time we'll have, so it'll be perfectly safe. Perfect for a beginner burrowing lessons. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. What was that question? Oh dear, my burrowing bag. What do we burrow? Good question. Well, obviously we borrow food. We borrow anything non-perishable is very important to make sure we have. Because then we can split it up amongst the families, and it'll stay for a lot better, a longer time. So we don't have to worry about anything going bad fast. But of course, since there are so much of us, if you do end up getting something that isn't going to keep for as long, that's totally fine, because we'll be able to obviously make sure it's eaten by everybody. Supplies are very important, but before I get started on all of that stuff, yes, exactly, she made this for me as well. She's so great at it. She's amazing. Well, since we're on the subject of climbing, there are many things that you can use for climbing. Do you already have something? Yeah, show me. Let me see. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. You have a safety pin. Those work really well. I was thinking about getting one myself. Actually, this is a new one I brought, so just in case you wanted to borrow one, in case you didn't have to borrow one. See what I did there? Okay, in case you needed one. But actually, a paper clip works really well. What I found other borrowers do, and it's what I do, I know some others who use a fishing hook or a safety pin, paper clips, you know, anything that works with helping you be able to kind of use as the throwing hook and climb up. So you can stretch this out and turn it into a nice hook, and then you'll get really good at tossing. Give it a good throw, and then you yank down. We'll go over this when we go up there. And you yank down, make sure it's secure, and then I like to use a dark coloured thread. And then we tie it around like this. Make sure it's very secure. So whenever you throw it, and obviously you need to tie it better than this, please don't stop taking notes and like just do a simple knot like this, because it won't hold up and you'll fall to your death. Just kidding, no you won't, it's okay, we'll figure it out. So then you have like a longer thread like this, and then you chuck it, and you can use this to climb up. It's quite sturdy. So got the climbing, we'll practice that today as well. So food is very important, but something else that's very important is thread for clothing. Bean thread is actually a little too bulky for us. Obviously if we try to make something with this, our clothing will be very bulky and it won't be as fine and fitted as the clothing we have now. So we want to provide the best amount of stuff for anybody who ends up making the clothes for us. So what they do is they take the thread that we bring and they unspool it. Not like that, don't do that. And they'll unspool it like this and just start to slowly take it apart piece by piece until they have smaller thread, obviously, that they can use for making the clothes. So you can see why it's very important to try to grab some whenever you see it. Other things that could be very important other than food: buttons. These are smaller buttons because they're easier to grab. So I use one for my bag, and you can use them for other things as well. So buttons can be very useful. So honestly, when we're borrowing, we want to be aware of what we're taking to make sure it's not going to be very noticeable, as I said. But if you see something that can have multiple uses and it's not going to be missed, then it's good to just go ahead and borrow what you can. But of course, just make sure that you're not borrowing too much so your bag isn't too heavy when you climb and stuff, because you don't want to stress anything out. You're looking like you're a little bit better. Are you feeling a little better? Awesome. Well, like I said, this is just our first lesson, so I don't want you to be too stressed out. Now we just need to wait until it's time for him to be leaving, so we can head up there and start borrowing. Yes, so of course I'll give you a better demonstration of the things that we'll end up borrowing when we're out there. So you have nothing to worry about. This happens, don't worry. Oh my god, he's so subtle. was that? A code? No. 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 That wasn't a code. The floors just creak and make weird noises when he does that. I kind of have to knock back to ensure the floor is still in order. And yes, exactly. I just knocking to make sure the floor is secure. It's very, very convincing. Okay. Oh, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I think he's leaving, and the coast is probably clear. Yeah, so we can go up and go burrowing, and he'll be gone. We don't have to worry about anything, because the door will also give it a little bit of a knock before he comes in, so we'll be signaled. We won't be signaled. It'll just give us a in-tune borrower awareness that that he's going to be back. Like I said, this is a completely safe flat, so you don't have to worry about being discovered by beans at all. Yes, okay, so, you've got your bag, you've got your safety pin, we've gone over some basics. I think you're ready. Do you think you're ready? Do you feel ready? How do you feel? You look good. You look great. You look like a borrower. Okay, awesome. Well, if you want to get your things, you can go ahead and head up. I got my bag. Are you all set? Awesome. Alright. Thank you again for coming to my borrowing lessons. And if you end up enjoying the whole shebang and everything goes great up there, then please tell your friends and just try to get as many people involved as you can, because like I said, we need more people who want to borrow. Awesome. Alright. Well, let's go.